What up, Shitsimers here. Now, here is my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turns 10, 20, 30, and 40 this week. Alright, the films celebrating their 10th anniversary, we got the second Apes film, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which was a follow up to Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is obviously the best out of the three. It's really terrific. It's more more real and more darker than Rise was. This time around, you had like Gary Oldman, Jason Clarke, Toby Kebbell, who played Conan, and such a terrific villain. Now this is time around. You got the apes, human survivors battle to stay alive in the wake of a deadly pandemic. Boy, that does sound familiar. While Caesar tries to maintain control over his expanding ape community. And lots of people, including myself, I admit, think even Andy Serkis should have got an Oscar nomination because this was the best I've seen out of Caesar. I mean, War for the Planet of the Apes was okay. That was a little step down, but Dawn. I've said this in my reviews for the Apes films. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was the Dark Knight of the Apes films. While Rise was the Batman Begins of the Apes films, and War was the Dark Knight Rises of the Apes film. That's just my opinion. All right. Also turning 10, we got the Oscar-nominated film Boyhood. Now, Boyhood was directed by Richard Linklater, who did something that I don't even think anyone had ever done before. He literally filmed this movie for over the course from 2002 to 2013, and depicts the childhood and adolescence of Mason Evans Jr., played by Eller Cochrane, who of course from pretty much tells the story of him from the age of 6 to 18 as he grows up in Texas with divorced parents. Richard Linklater's daughter, Laurel Linklater, was also in this. Ethan Hawke, Patricia Arquette got Oscar nominations. Well, I believe that Patricia Arquette actually won her Oscar for this, if I'm not mistaken. Boyhood was one of my favorite films of that year. All due respect to Birdman. I love Birdman. Birdman's terrific. I still think Boyhood should have won Best Picture. I'm sorry. Like, Richard Linklater did something that no one ever done before. Like, shoot a whole film throughout, I believe it was 12 years, if I'm not mistaken. And he's doing the same thing again with a film adaptation of the Tony Award winning play Merrily We Roll Along. So that won't come out till 2033 or whatever. Oh boy, he's always making us hope. But hey, I still love Richard Linklater, and Boyhood is excellent. If you guys have not seen Boyhood, do yourself a favor, go watch it. It literally made that movie. I don't know why it makes me miss childhood. So yeah. All right, we also turning 10. We got And So It Goes, which is Rob Reiner's film starring Michael Keaton, not Michael Keaton, Micah Douglas, Diane Keaton, Rob Reiner, Frankie Valli, and it's where this real estate agent, Oran Lowe, played by Douglas, and he prefers to not be liked and all, and of course he's like very mainstream, one who crossed past, and then he pretty much pretty much was for like his neighbor, played by Diane Keaton. I'm sorry, this was not so good. I love Rob Reiner, especially his Twitter and stuff like that. Who doesn't love Rob Reiner? Like Princess Bride, Misery, Stand By Me. He's put out some terrific stuff. This is maybe like this and North are probably his worst movies in my opinion. And yeah, I mean Frankie Valli couldn't even save this film. All right, also turning 20 is one of the best comedies that year, and that is Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Of course, it's about like a legendary San Diego television station where like Farrell's entire character clashes with his female counterpart played by Christina Applegate. Anchorman is one of the most quotable. Like 2004 was like the film, was like the decade or year I should say of quotable films. Mean Girls, The Notebook, Napoleon Dynamite. Anchorman is one of them. Of course, they did do a sequel, which maybe not as funny as the first Anchorman, but Anchorman Legend Robert is terrific. I love Scotch. Some really fun cameos from Vince Vaughn, Jack Black, Danny Trejo. Paul Rudd was in this. Steve Carell, David Koechner. I adore Anchorman a lot. It's such a fun film. Uh, Definitely one of Will Ferrell's best works. I mean, it's a hilarious one. If you guys never seen Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy, do yourself a favor, go watch. I feel like everyone's seen it by now, but if you guys haven't, you're missing out. All right. Also turning 20, we got the film Sleepover. Where in the summer starting high school, Julie, played by Alexa Vega, and her best friends uh have a slumber party, and they decide that they're going to use the night to shed their nerdy repetitions. You also have the likes of Jane Lynch. You had a very young Brie Larson, Scout Taylor Compton, who played Laurie Strode in the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. She was in this. Steve Carell. Steve Carell had two films that week. Anchorman and Sleepover. I believe The Office won't premiere until the following year. I believe The Office was the one that really put Steve Carell on the map, and for a year version, but still. Of course, you had other cool folks like Jeff Garlin, Sarah Paxton, a very young Evan Peters before he became very popular. Summer Glau from that Terminator show. Sarah Connor Chronicles. Sleepover was not as memorable as, let's say, Mean Girls was, or Napoleon Dynamite or anything. I remember watching this one back in the days, and it was actually a really charming one. Alexa Vega, who obviously became made a name for herself with Spy Kids, was really good in this. Michael was great. I believe this was Brie Larson's earliest film, and very crazy to see how these stars, now became more bigger, and it's a really nice little charming film to check out. Steve Carell actually played a cop in this. I love Steve Carell in this one. All right. Also turning 10, we got the not so good King Arthur movie. Not to be confused with the one with Charlie Hunnam that Guy Ritchie directed. This is the one with Clive Owen, Keira Knightley, Joe Egerton. It was directed by Antoine Fuqua, who is a terrific filmmaker, from Training Day to The Equalizer. This is probably his worst film, in my opinion. I was never a fan of this. I mean, you do got Clive Owen, who I love Clive Owen, but nothing about this was all that terrific. Not very memorable. I mean, it was a little better than the Guy Ritchie one, but still, I was not really too big with this King Arthur one. Now, also turning 40, oh, not 40, 30, I might say, we got maybe my favorite film of that year, of 1994, the Oscar-winning film, the classic that is Forrest Gump. Run, Forrest, Run. Starring Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, who, by the way, both have that new movie here coming out this week. Not this week, this year. That's, of course, directed by Robert Zemeckis, who I love Robert Zemeckis. Going way Back to the Future, Romancing the Stones. I even like his Pinocchio film. I don't care what anyone says. Uh, but Forrest Gump, I still don't know if I should say this is better than Back to the Future. I'm always tossed between Forrest Gump as my favorite Zemeckis film or Back to the Future, but Forrest Gump's definitely the best Tom Hanks film. I mean, it's just incredible. Some of those, some really cool visual effects, like seeing Tom Hanks's Forrest Gump, be with the likes of JFK, John Lennon, or is always intriguing. I could never understand how they did that, and this, of course, won Best Picture, which I know a lot of people complain because it beat out Shawshank Redemption, which I admit I wouldn't complain if for Shawshank Redemption won, but if it had to lose against anything, I'm glad it was Forrest Gump. Tom Hanks, one of the first actors to win an Oscar back to back, because that was the same time where he won his Oscar a year after he won for Philadelphia. Tom Hanks is incredible in this. Magaya Williamson, who played Bubba. Captain Den, played by Gary Sinise. Uh, Sally Field. I mean, a young Haley Joel Osment's first ever feature. Who doesn't love Forrest Gump? It's just one of the most iconic films of all time. Maybe Shawshank Redemption fans hate Forrest Gump because, but still, Forrest Gump is just. Hey, I love Shawshank Redemption, but again, if Shawshank Redemption had to lose against anything, I'm just glad it's Forrest Gump. Come on, '94 was a great year. Pulp Fiction, the Oscars there, Forrest Gump beat out Pulp Fiction and Shawshank Redemption. So yeah, uh, but yeah, who doesn't love Forrest Gump, right? All right. Also turning 30, we got A Troll of Central Park, directed by the great, amazing Don Bluth, who of course gave us Land Before Time, American Tail. I believe he did All Doors Go to Heaven too, if I'm not mistaken. One of the best animation directors there is. Uh, it tells the story of a troll who is exiled from the kingdom of trolls of the evil troll queen. And he lands in Central Park where he befriends two children. This was actually the final Blue film to star Dom DeLuise. You also had other voices like Charles Nelson Raleigh, Cloris Leachman, Haley Mills, Jonathan Price. It's not as good as like most of Don Bluth films. Like it's not as memorable as Land Before Time or American Tail, but it's a really decent film. Very creepy if you think of it. Like Don Bluth anime movies can get very creepy at times. Like if you guys who did not get freaked out with the original Land Before Time, like come on, there was some really scary moments in Land Before Time. All Doors Go Heaven definitely had some scary scenes in it too. I mean that's the thing about Don Bluth. He doesn't make like just kid movies. Like he makes family friendly films. Same with Pixar. And this one again not as good as Land Before Time, but it's a really decent little film worth checking out. All right, film turning 40 this week. Oh boy, this is a good one. We got the classic. That is The Last Starfighter. Which directed by Michael Myers himself, Nick Cassa, uh, and tells the story of Alex Rogan, played by Lance Gas, who's a teenager recruited to an alien defense force to fight the Interstellar War. It also features the likes of Dan O'Halloran, Catherine Mary Stewart. Great year for her, by the way. Now, I'm not gonna lie. If there was any films from the '80s that deserves a remake, it's The Last Starfighter. This movie I felt like was ahead of its time. Like if you make a Last Starfighter today, it could be really profitable. Like it could, like the effects could be really cool. I'm surprised no one ever decides to do a remake of it. I know people hear the word remake and be like, "Oh, they should not touch that." But I'm sorry. This is Last Starfighter is right for a remake. It's just so iconic. What, of course, this came out around the time when stuff like ET came out, around the time Back to the Future came out, and all. And it's not as memorable as those, I admit, but it's a really good one if you guys haven't seen it. One of the most iconic '80s sci-fi movies there is. All right, also turning 40. I just rewatched this on YouTube because I don't know why. I was clamoring for something Muppet related, and we got Muppets Take Manhattan. The '80s was all about taking Manhattan. We had Jason Takes Manhattan in the '80s, and we had Muppets Take Manhattan in the '80s. Uh, but at least with Muppets Take Manhattan, they actually got you Manhattan towards the beginning of the film, not towards the end, but still. You also had like cameos by the likes of Brooke Shields was in this. Who else? I believe Joan Rivers also had a cameo in this, if I'm not mistaken, too. Uh, Now, this time around, you have Kermit the Frog and his friends who start a stage act, and they decide to take their show from College Town to Broadway. And once the Muppets wind up in New York City, they have difficulty finding financial support for their production. And so, yeah, this was also the one where like Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy got married. It's a really good one. It's not like the best Muppet movie, nothing like that, but it's still really terrific. Maybe because I live in New York City, maybe that's probably why I enjoy it a lot. But it's a really good one. Come on, who did not love seeing Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy get married? When not, so it's a really decent. I mean, of course, the Muppet movies has always been so iconic. From the Muppet movie to the 2011 Jason Segel one, who just doesn't love Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Gonzo, Fozzie? Like who you cannot just hate the Muppets. Like they are just so iconic. I mean, Jim Henson, R.I.P. He was so iconic with this stuff. But that's pretty much it there. Let me leave you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? To me, the 10-year one is not going to go to Apes. It's going to Boyhood. That was actually my favorite film, like one of my favorite films of that year. The 20-year one is going to Anchorman. The 30-year one is going to Forrest Gump, obviously, because that was my favorite film of that year. And the 4-year one is going to go to The Last Starfighter. Anyway, drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Timmy signing.